tape 4 in the interview with David Mandl. You were talking about the selection process at Auschwitz.
Yes.
What happened after the selection process?
Okay, the selection basically we found out later. Naturally, we didn't know. Even that particular time, we knew that we arrived and we are slaves. I mean, we have seen, first impression when I arrived, if you looked around, it looked to me like an asylum because there wasn't life. Nobody was around. It was quiet. There wasn't a grass. I mean, if somebody goes to the Auschwitz, it's different. There wasn't grass at all, only mud. And you couldn't see any people, so I didn't know where we are. I didn't know. We didn't know. Basically, people went to my side, we went, and we were marched to the showers. And the other group went the other way, and later on I knew for sure they were taken to gas chambers. Of course, it's a long process. They take you, you don't know it, you're going to gas chambers. If later on I will tell you I have seen when children and mothers were marching, but at this time I didn't know, but I knew for sure a lot of people, elderly people who were cripples. They had canes, they had, they couldn't walk. They were unloaded, so to speak, and they could not practically burn the corpses fast enough. They didn't have the facilities. They didn't have enough crematoriums. I don't know. Basically, there were cases, many cases, that they took also a load of these cripples, people who were invalids, and loaded on a truck. The truck which Germans had, and we have it in the United States and the buildings. When they deliver some sand, they picks up, and the sand goes down automatically. There was a big hole next to the crematorium, a huge, huge hole, burning hell. And they backed up this, believe me or not, these cripples, which are decent people, somebody's father, mother, grandfather, cousin, and believe me or not, they backed it up and picked it up, and it went right into the fire, and you wouldn't believe it. But I know for sure that it happened.
You saw it?
I did not saw it, but I was very close by. I heard the hollerings and the screams, and the next people who were later on, I can tell you about, I was daily talking about these people, who came, what happened, and they told me, but it wasn't that it went around. I heard it. It's a fact. Okay, we went.
At the selection,
Yeah.
which side did your pointed towards?
They say it's to the left. I couldn't swear because it wouldn't make any difference to me. Okay, I know wherever I went, let's assume to the left, we went to the showers, okay? In the showers, we had to walk sometime. I threw everything away. Some people carried it. I threw it away. Okay. We had to walk, I remember as it would be right now, around some, we were on the close to Auschwitz side. We had to walk to Birkenau. In Polish, they called it Brzezinki. We had to walk to Brzezinki, and they had Main Street, like you go to the Main Street here, Main Streets, and they had Lager A, B, C, D, E, F. Each one consisted, who the heck knows, 10,000 people, 15, I don't know. So we were walking and walking, and it took us some time to get to the bath, bath where they had the showers. Where we came in a big room, and they said, take off everything, be naked, stay naked, don't keep anything whatsoever.
Who was in this group?
Everybody from this transport. It was that one transport, you know, I don't know how many, you know, wagons came, but it was one group.
Men and women.
Men and women. Now, basically, possibly, the women was separated because I don't remember at this point. Well, you know, went separately. That I don't know. I know that I went in. They said take off everything. I went in, and a guy from the city of Kasha. I didn't know. It wasn't my friend. He was an architect. He was maybe a young one from the school, maybe 2 or 3 years of experience. He was married, and we all were amazed when he came to the synagogue to pray. Everybody remembers him. He had twins, the most beautiful twins that you ever can imagine, you know. And I knew him from there. So he came to me, and he had gold rim glasses, you know. And he asked me, I want to keep my glasses. I said, keep it. I said, but I would like to, you know, I want to do the right thing. I don't want to ask the officer that says. I says, please, don't do it. I says, don't do it. He says, but I want to do what is right, okay? So here this guy comes to this SS, and SS, and ask him in German, kann ich behalten? Can I keep it? I don't see well. Before he finished, he got slapped. He fell off, and he had to crawl back. Told him not to do it. Doesn't mean that I was smarter. I just didn't trust him. He came back. Okay. Next thing was, there were barbers or not barbers, whoever, anybody could have job. Who was lucky if you had a brother and he came, he wanted to, he had a influence, you know. So, okay. So they were barbers. They cut off our hairs. At that time, they could cut me over here also, so I disappeared. Anyway, I cut all the hair, any body parts that you understand. And you had to step up. You know, first you cut your head, then you had to step up, sort of in a little bit chair. You know, too much, not high. Stood up because when you cut, you know, the leg or whatever between the legs, and this guy, the barber, so-called barber, looks up at me and says, "Oh my God, were you a boxer? You know, you enjoyed my physique, big deal, you know." So then he says, "Shloimeh, come here, now come here, look at this." I says, "Are you a boxer?" He says, "Look here, I am, but I have to lose." Anyway, I'm just trying to tell you that was just what I remember. It doesn't mean anything to me. When we finished, that's just an incident I'm just putting in because it happened, and it doesn't mean anything. When we finished, we didn't have anything with us. Yes, the shoes you could keep, the shoes. I went with one shoe on my leg, one I was holding because I had a bandage, you know. So we went to the shower, we got a quick shower, and afterwards they sprayed us, you know, like the roaches sprayed everywhere because they didn't want to get a disease, you know, they wanted to make sure. So we come out on the other side. I'm still clutching my shoe, I couldn't put it on. And they give us, they throw at you whatever. It was small, it is narrow, it is long, it looked like people from a circus, a clown. But we exchanged, whatever we could, we did. But the point is, we were then marched to certain, the barracks, you know, they called it a block, you know, barracks, this is block 1, block 2. And we went actually to the Lager C, ABC. Lager, block, I don't remember what anymore. One thing I remember which was unusual, I was told first time in the history, on the left side they had people just coming from Hungary, and we came from Hungary. I was Slovak, but I was a Hungarian, I came from Hungary. On the right side, they have, half to the right side was German gypsies, sort of, well, I mean, I was told some lawyers, some, you know, gypsies, you expect gypsy. with families. They have a little bit of privileges. They were hungry, they were beaten, but they had a little bit better. They were allowed to be with families. They got a little bit better food. I can explain later on. Anyway, so, yes.
Can I ask, were you given a number?
No, the number, we did not get a number because they didn't, numbers, you had to be for some time there, at least when I came. What was happening before, a year ago, 2 years ago, or 6 months ago, I don't know. What happened to me, I can only tell you what happened to me. We did not get a number.
When is it that you arrived in Auschwitz?
I arrived in Auschwitz most probably in June, maybe end of May, June. All these things, we didn't have a calendar. We didn't know whether coming or going. Later on is even worse. But the point is, we arrived and we came to this Lagersee, and they crammed us in the barrack, to this block, to the extent that you couldn't really sit down. Okay, so we are there and we're trying to sit down because nothing happened. Suddenly they open the door and they bring some food. You know, they bring a kettle of food, which is one type of food. They call it Dörrgemüse. Dörrgemüse is just one dish mixed with whatever. And the main thing we couldn't understand, they didn't have any dishes. So they said, here is a dish to one man and 4 more people. So everything, they were crazy with zu fünf. 5 was their number. So they gave the first guy, they put some food in it. Now go on the side, that's your food. Now here are people coming from civilian life. They had the best food. They had families. They dined and wined. They had good times, bad times. So they didn't know, what does it mean? 5 people from one dish, so who's going to get first to it? How are we going to drink it? 5 together, 1 together, how much is he going to drink? Now, at that time nobody was hungry yet so much, so a lot of people didn't drink because they couldn't understand, they couldn't take it. So that was the story. You have 5 people, there is a dish, now you get it, fight it or you don't fight, but we weren't hungry enough yet to fight about it. Because I remember later on that at one time we again 5, and they gave us a little bit honey, okay? It was, so they gave one person, it was like a cube, you know? We were running after the guy because they're afraid he's going to run away. So how do we cut it? But who gets what? Okay, you can imagine what happened. So anyway, we are here, and I'm not enjoying talking about it, you know. But I want to be factual, I want to be telling the truth the way I experienced it. So basically, okay, this is done, and supposedly we have to go to sleep, and there is no room to sleep, so you have to open your legs and somebody comes close to you, sitting down the next one to you. We couldn't turn because the whole row can turn. It was on the floor. So wonderful.
There were no beds?
At that time, they were beds, but they were occupied, but in addition, they put us in between the aisles, okay? At that time. So it went that way for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, then reduced a little bit, not much. So we had these beds, but so we had this, you know, tiers. And the tiers, whether it was first, second, third, fourth, I couldn't tell you whether it was 5 or 6 people. The same story. If you wanted to turn, the whole row had to turn. No other way. Or you just lay there on the side, because basically you didn't have enough space to lay this way, and you had to be on the side. Okay. A week living that way, some people were coming and going on the other side or passing by, and suddenly somebody comes to me, 2 people came to me, and they weren't happy to see me. So says, "Oi, you here? Well, I'm sorry. We were together in the detention concentration camp in Garany. This one was from Vienna, one was from Berlin. Well, they were German-speaking guys, so when they came straight from Garany, you know, I meantime I had a vacation. And they were sort of lucky enough to get in to office work. They told me that they think because there's a flood of people are coming, they definitely are short-handed, and they will be in touch. And one day they came and they said, step out next day, volunteer. At first they were told, don't ever volunteer.
Who told you that?
Well, people who were elder, sometime over there, after I told you, don't ever. Because if you are a doctor, a lawyer, a plumber, they might say, all the plumbers out, and they just played with them. It was a game. They were finished, okay? So don't ever. But he told me, just step out. I did step out, and I had to step out. I had 4 or 5 people lined up. The SS captain, whoever he was, I didn't know any ranks at that time, you know, came and just very shortly said, how many Sprachen sprechen Sie? How many languages do you speak? So one said 2, one said 3, one said 1, I said 4. And I was telling him Hungarian, German, Slovak, Polish, whatever. I graduated. Some other people also with me, and I became a scribe. I put in German Schreiber right on my right here. It wasn't the rank, it was army, it was Schreiber. Doesn't mean that we didn't get beaten by our supervisor or by SS. He didn't like what we're doing. We'll tell you later on about word sport, what does it mean. And so I was a Schreiber, okay. Basically my job at that time, 6,000 people, or how many came daily or every second day, whatever, kept on coming. Fine, so my office, when these people came, was outside between the barracks, okay, outside on the street. They had to line up, whoever came, and my desk was a crate, whether it's apples or potatoes, I don't know what it was. And I stood it up, you know, lengthwise. My chair, where my knees, I was sitting on my behind. If I could, you got a cramp, you know, you had to do it. And only my job was, don't look up. Just say Name, a name, etc. Maybe 2 questions, whatever. And I'm writing. And I don't know how many days later or which day, what, I'm writing. I says Name, name. The guy says, Shamu Birnbaum. I didn't look up. I just didn't say anything. Behind Shamu Birnbaum was a guy who, they knew each other, they were caught together, so they were sticking together. The name, Dr. Stern. We didn't know that it doesn't mean anything, Dr. Stern. But he felt he's a doctor, etc. And I kept on. Okay. In the evening, everything what you did over there was dangerous, because without any reason whatsoever you were beaten, without nothing. So if you did something, that was terrible. The punishment was so much more. So I was looking and smuggled myself into this new place that they went in, and I was able to bring him for shaving. There was nothing for shaving, you know, a Gillette, you know, okay. And I was able to give my Shamu a pair of socks, you know, because they didn't have any socks. Nobody has socks. And was helping him a little bit. Now, Dr. Stern, who came second, he made a mental note. He told me later. He says, he's going to watch me. I mean, if he has a opportunity, watch me what I am doing, just in case I would volunteer, I would do something else. Okay. Basically, for some time, I was working what I'm describing. I came with a person who wasn't from Košice, Kaša, but he came with a different transport from Czechoslovakia. I don't know his name. We were good friends over there. And again, I have to mention, he was a very good-looking man, young, my age, big eyes, you know, okay. And there's a reason I'm saying it. And we were together. If we had something extra, we split it and whatever. And after a while, he was going there whenever he could, sneaking actually. And one of the gypsy girls from the gypsy family, nice-looking girl, fell in love with him. Now, it's strange, it's such a place to talk about love, but I have to do because it's part of the story. And she was giving him quite often milk that she got, okay, and she wanted to share it with him. He got the milk, he wanted to share it with me, you know. So I was lucky a little bit, and because you say, how did you survive? The small little things, without this, we couldn't, and it was an accident that we survived. But you need still these little small things are counting. So basically, one day, I have to tell you because I told you there was a very handsome, good-looking guy. His sister, they came together from Bratislava. Actually, he was from Bratislava. Whether he went to Hungary and he was hiding there, I don't know how they came with the Hungarian transport. The sister, I was told, came, she was blonde, whatever, she was so beautiful that the SS played the game. Let's not shave her hair. And she looked pretty good. She just came. She didn't dress well because she got the same garb but we. But obviously an SS man fell for her. Of course, certainly wasn't able to do anything because it was a Rassenschande. I mean, he couldn't touch. I mean, it was against their laws, you know. But what he did favor. She said, I would wish I would know where my brother, what is he doing, does he have. So sometimes he brought a little bit food for him. And he wasn't allowed to do it, but I'm just saying. And sometimes he brought a message that he knew that they're going to take some people to a different location that he felt it's much better. I didn't want to volunteer. I said, I don't want to do it. I said, trust me. We are together. Let's go together.
How long had you been in Auschwitz?
We were only just a very, very short time. We might have been 4, 6, 8 weeks. You know, very short time. I don't know, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So next day they call out, we need so many people. And if you didn't volunteer, eventually they pulled you regardless, you know, doesn't matter. So I stepped out, my friend stepped out next to me, you know, and people lined up in back to film again the same, to film. And here is this so-called, he wasn't Dr. Stern, I'm not calling him Dr. Stern, was in back of me. And from that moment on, he was hugging me all the time. Wherever I went, we were marching to a third lager, that was A, B, C, D, E, okay? And we went in, and that was called, and people know it, some people know it, Commando Canada. Why the heck Canada? Like somebody in Europe said, oh, this is as good as America. So they picked up something. Canada is a good country, and this place, it's heaven. So they called it Canada. It wasn't exactly heaven, but it was a little bit better. So the point is, when we arrived, I'm talking about coincidences. How did you survive? What did you do to survive? I didn't, the circumstances. When we came and we were assigned to a block, a barrack, and I came in, somebody came to me, and I wasn't in Slovakia for many years. To me, I know you. We went together to elementary school. And my name is Popiel, that remember, Popiel. Name is Shandor, Alexander Shani. Sometimes I'm not talking clearly because I mumble to myself. It was not so important. But anyway, he came, and he was like a supervisor. And he brought me in the evening a shirt. We didn't have shirts, okay? We didn't have socks. We didn't have nothing, underwear. And says, I will be in touch, but before he left, he called each block had a manager, you know. In this case, where I was, his name was Heniek, a Polish Jew who came from the jail because he was a little bit crooked, you know. And he was our supervisor in this barrack. I said to him, because he was a manager, they always work together. He says, look here, I mean, this is my relative. Why don't you just keep him, let him sweep the floor. The Heniek asked me, wer bist du? In Yiddish, who are you? So I said, I answered, this is my cousin. Okay. It didn't matter to him. He needed somebody to sweep, but it was permanent. So we didn't have to go, we didn't have to work, we didn't have to be beaten. We were sort of safe, but we weren't safe because they came to inspect also. But we were relatively speaking. So here I am working there.
Did you also change your lodging where you were sleeping?
No. That was lodging. It happened before ever they assigned us. It happened when we just arrived. We didn't have any chance to get this. It wasn't assigned. Just take wherever you want. What happened? That his Heniek, believe me or not, he says to me, "You're going to sleep next to me." Now there is a reason for it. I didn't know the reason. He wasn't homosexual, so that wasn't the reason. It was a different reason. So basically, we were, after a while, he couldn't keep us there maybe for a week or so because they had to change. It was always going, never left somebody for a permanently on a place, you know. So we had to go out and work, which was assorting all the luggage and all their rucksacks and all whatever they brought. There were mountains and mountains of such luggages, you know, and we had to go, and we were in a working barrack, and we were in groups of, let's say, 4 or 6, it was a group. So we went, the group, it wasn't so, it was organized, not that everybody went out. 6 people went out, ran to the pile, grabbed 2 luggages, ran back, and they started to assort it. Then we had empty luggages all around, sort in a room, like a bit larger, empty luggages. We opened it up. The silverware goes over there. The soap is going over there. This goes over there. Now this filled up. And you have to pick up, one of us, pick it up and sort of not just walk, but sort of just walk fast to another block barrack where they just had this specific item there. The girls were working there, and they further assorted whatever they did with it. So there was a process.
We need to stop and change the tape.
Okay.